And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
It's the same old story, same old song and dance, my friend. It's the same old story, same old story, same old song and dance.
Yeah, it's the same. You know, I just, reading this thing about Rick Perry, I just saw Jim Hightower's name, and I didn't read that far down. I'm going, you know, I remember this. I just happened to be in Texas in 1982 election cycle. And if you look at this, you know, for those on the video, you can see here's some of the Hightower, no more bull, like a Tex Earnhardt car commercial. This ain't no bull. And, because it was a steer. And there was, the whole idea was that he was this populist candidate. It's kind of, you call him progressive now. And it was, you know, certainly as a Democrat. And it was real populism going up against the big banks and Wall Street and corporate media and big oil and big coal and big. And this was a 1982 campaign. So it was, you know, and you have in 1990 running for re-election, you have Ann Richards, the governor, and there's a picture of Robert Redford, you know, supporting his campaign. Then you have him doing Hightower radio and so on, and Willie Nelson's on his side. So this was a populist candidate. Well, the boys, man, they didn't like that none too much, so what do? They got to have somebody go up against him. Well, Hightower in 1990, there was a race that it was Rick Perry came in and won. Now, think about it. 2 years before, he was Al Gore's campaign manager. Now, Gore's Texas campaign chairman in 1988. So he went against him as a Democrat in the primaries. So, of course, he won, and then he, you know, beat Hightower to get rid of him. Now, I think Hightower went on, if it's the same person, I think he went on to be a congressman or something. I have to check. I don't know for sure. Don't care. But I could see from this resume of Perry, if you look back, you start to see that you go, you know, what, you know, how in the heck did all of a sudden he wind up being a Republican? Who made that decision? You know, where did that come from? So I'm going, all right. So then we start looking at some of the other stuff. Rick Perry, another anti-gay candidate enters the race for president. Well, of course, this is from, you know, gay, lesbian, nation.com or something. It's LGBT, whatever initials they got, nation.com. And this was, you know, that's when they started talking about him being Al Gore's campaign chairman. I'm like, really? Well, then they want to bring up some other stuff, and I'm going, okay, so let's go ahead and, you know, take a look at it. So I started doing some research, and people started sending me stuff, and Gary started sending me stuff, and Powell was putting things up, and let's see if we can take a look at this. When Rick Perry became governor, what did he do? He was part of the North American Union corridor thing that keeps coming and going and becomes a political football for these guys. Well, let's go ahead and watch a little bit here and see what we can get out of this.
Governor Rick Perry is visiting Istanbul, Turkey this weekend, but some critics are questioning the company he's keeping. Perry has been invited to attend the Bilderberg Conference. He'll speak to the conference on state-federal relations. The Bilderberg Conference is an unofficial, invitation-only conference of about 100 guests, and those guests include some of the most powerful people from the worlds of business, media, and politics. Critics say Bilderberg only invites people from North America and Western Europe, and the conferences are closed to the public. Bilderberg's defenders say the summits need to be closed so that people of influence can openly share ideas. The critics answer back that the conference's secrecy defeats the purpose of open democracy. And who's paying for the governor's trip to Turkey? Well, the governor's office confirms it's the Political Action Committee, Texans for Rick Perry.
Okay, so this came from InfoWars. That was a Channel 8 out of Austin in Texas. So I'm just going, all right. So he's like a Bilderberger boy. So he comes out, and all of a sudden, he's big on doing the Central Western Corridor and a Central Eastern Corridor. It's one of those that went from Mexico to Canada through Texas. And I've driven through Texas, and this is an enormous swath. I got to explain this to you. It's not just like, like they do eminent domain for railroads. I mean, you think, okay, it's the Lone Prairie out in the middle of the nothing. The Native Americans would be, it's like, cutting a scar on your Mother Earth's face and stitching it up, this big train track kind of thing. So they didn't have a lot of nice things to feel about it. But what they did for the corridor, they needed to have a lot more than a train track. We're talking like, 16 lanes of highway and high-speed rail and whatever futuristic they're going to make you pay for. It's going to all these major metropolises around the country. Phoenix is no exception. Has all these light rail projects. And it's always going to be about some kind of we're going to get public transportation and make you pay for it because we can't. Is it cheaper than just people in cars? No, that's not the point. In fact, here in Arizona, made a big deal out of it that you could give someone a cheap Toyota. Everyone that rides the train, give them a cheap Toyota, and it'd be cheaper than building a train. It's like, hey man, let's just give them a car. No. Gotta have the light rail. All right. So you start to see, one, he was a Democrat, supported Al Gore. Part of that system, becomes governor, comes in, goes Republican, goes to Bilderberger, supported a North American, whatever the heck. So I'm wondering, why is he in this race, in a GOP thing? They think this stuff's not going to come out in the days of the internet? So I'm just, and you can go on here. They got 14 reasons why Rick Perry would be a really, really bad president, and all I need's one, And then now, another story, this one I remember this, but we don't, I can't imagine this is not going to come up. And this was about when they had, what they called it, Gardasil, it was where they were taking young girls and mandating that they take vaccines. For the future, maybe they don't get, some kind of cervical cancer, just, Merck just makes some money. Well, Rick Perry's a Merck boy. So here's a little bit of coverage of that. Go ahead, play. Push the button. Go. There.
My friends, Rick Perry has done it. He has announced, as of today, officially, August 13th, 2011, that he is going to seek the Republican nomination for president in the 2012 election. Now, this is Alex Jones reporting to you for Infowars.com, and I want you, if you're a new viewer, to listen carefully. I am nonpartisan. I am a constitutionalist. I stand for the truth and justice, liberty, and freedom. I want a free republic for my children to grow up in. I am not attacking Rick Perry because he's a Republican, any more than I attacked Barack Obama because he was a Democrat. I'm going after them because of their record, because of their backers, and what they stand for. Tyranny. 100%. That said, Rick Perry has shown himself to be the most duplicitous, deceptive politician that I have ever studied in the history of the United States. Yes, you heard me correctly, and I'm going to cover one of his biggest and boldest crimes here in a moment. In previous videos, in the last 3+ years, we've broken down the fact that he would run for president in 2012, that he would give a fake pledge, that he would not run, and that he would break that pledge. It's all part of the manipulation. And I will recap some of his other serious crimes at the end of this video. And yes, I said crimes. Now, first and foremost, Rick Perry is duplicitous, and he is absolutely 100% involved in the death of not just young girls in Texas and the United States, but all over the world. Yes, you heard me correctly, and I'm going to prove it right now. I do not make these charges lightly. You see an exhibit, the Associated Press posted on KBTX television out of Bryan College Station, Texas A&M, his alma mater. Rick Perry's ties with Merck run deep. AP.
Now you can go to Freedom's Phoenix and see this whole article, but the whole thing is mandatory vaccines, Rick Perry, and president?